Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. Last Tuesday night, I came home from the gym and overheard my girlfriend rehearsing how to tell me she cheated on me. The conversation stopped me cold in the hallway outside our apartment. I had left the gym on Colfax Avenue earlier than usual. My shoulder was bothering me, an old military injury that flared up when I pushed too hard. I figured I'd head home, ice it, maybe catch the end of the game on TV. The front door to our apartment was slightly open. The maintenance guy had been by earlier to fix the bathroom sink. Sarah must have forgotten to close it all the way. I could hear voices coming from inside. I recognized Ashley's voice immediately. Sarah was on speakerphone. I stopped in the hallway, just outside the door. Something in their tone made me pause. This wasn't normal conversation. This was planning. Okay, so you're going to sit him down tomorrow night and say you need to tell him something serious, Ashley said. Then you tell him that last weekend when he was visiting his brother, you kissed someone at the kitchen. My jaw clenched. What the hell was this? Sarah's voice came through, uncertain. But what if he just walks out? What if he doesn't even give me a chance to explain it's not real? Not real. The words hit me like cold water. That's exactly what we're testing, another voice chimed in. Rachel, if he really loves you, he'll be devastated. He'll ask questions. He'll want to know everything, because he'll be trying to understand how to fix it. I felt my hands form fists at my sides. They were planning to fake infidelity. To test me. Exactly, Ashley said. Men who are truly invested fight for their relationship. They don't just give up. My ex-husband didn't even flinch when I told him I was unhappy. That's how I knew he didn't really love me. I don't know, Sarah said. This feels really wrong. Jake's been nothing but good to me. That's the point, honey, Ashley replied. You need to know if he's good to you because he loves you or because it's just easy for him. This test will show you the truth about his feelings. Rachel jumped back in. Plus, think about how romantic it'll be when you tell him it was fake and he realizes how much he fought for you. It's like a movie. A quieter voice spoke up. Jess, are we sure this is a good idea? I mean, what if it backfires? It won't backfire if Sarah commits to it, Ashley said. You have to sell it, Sarah. Cry a little, but not too much. Act guilty, but not defensive. Tell him you were drunk and confused, and the guy meant nothing. Sarah let out a long sigh. Okay, tomorrow night. After dinner. I'll do it then. Perfect, Ashley said. And remember, we'll be on standby. Text us immediately after and tell us everything he says and does. This is going to be so revealing. I stood there in that hallway, processing what I'd just heard. These women were treating my relationship like some kind of reality TV experiment. They were coaching my girlfriend on how to lie to my face, how to manipulate my emotions, all to see if I'd perform for them. But they were about to learn something important about me. I don't audition for anyone's entertainment. And I sure as hell don't beg someone to believe I love them when they're willing to lie to find out. I quietly backed away from the door. I took the stairs down instead of the elevator. I needed air. I needed space to think. I walked to Cheeseman Park, about 12 blocks from our apartment. The cold November air helped clear my head. I sat on a bench and stared at nothing for a while. In the military, we had a saying. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Sarah was about to empty the entire bucket with one manufactured crisis. I don't do tests. I don't do games. I do honesty or I do nothing. A plan formed in my mind. If Sarah wanted to test me, she could. But my response wasn't going to be the one her friends predicted. They wanted desperation, emotion, begging. They wanted a show. They were going to get consequences instead. I returned home 45 minutes later. Sarah was in the kitchen making tea, trying to look casual. Hey, she said, slightly too bright. I didn't hear you come in. How was the gym? Good, I said, keeping my voice normal. Did shoulders and back. You have a good night? Yeah, just caught up with the girls on the phone. Nice. I grabbed a water from the fridge. I'm going to shower and crash. Tomorrow's an early day. She watched me walk toward the bathroom. I could feel her eyes on my back. She was probably already rehearsing her lines for tomorrow night. I showered. I iced my shoulder. I lay in bed next to her and stared at the ceiling while she fidgeted beside me, restless with her secret. Tomorrow was coming, and I was ready. Wednesday passed in a blur of preparation. During my lunch break, I texted my buddy Tom. We'd served together, got out around the same time, stayed close. Need a favor tonight. Can you be on standby around 8? Everything okay? Will be. Just need to know I can crash at your place if necessary. Always. Doors open. After work, I stopped by my gym locker and packed a small bag. Nothing obvious. Just essentials. Couple changes of clothes, toiletries, my laptop. I've been planning to reorganize my gym stuff anyway. Sarah wouldn't think twice about the bag being there. I got home around 6. Sarah had made dinner. Pasta with that sauce I liked. She was overcompensating, guilt already showing before she'd even delivered her fake confession. This looks great, I said, sitting down. We ate. Made small talk about our days. She was distracted, kept glancing at me when she thought I wasn't looking. I remained calm. Just another Wednesday evening. After dinner, we moved to the living room. Sarah poured herself a glass of wine. Her hands shook slightly as she held it. So, she said, sitting on the couch. I was thinking maybe we could talk about us. I sat in the chair across from her. Sure. Everything okay? Yeah. I hope so. She took a sip of wine. I just need to tell you something. Whenever you're ready. She took a deep breath. This was it. Her big performance. Jake, I need to tell you something, and it's really hard. Last weekend when you went to Colorado Springs to visit your brother, something happened. I stayed perfectly still. Okay, what happened? I went out with the girls to the kitchen on Saturday night, and I had too much to drink, and there was this guy, and... She paused, tears forming in her eyes. We kissed. She watched my face, waiting for the explosion, the questions, the devastation. I nodded slowly, set down my beer with careful precision. Then I stood up and started walking toward the bedroom. Wait, she said, following me. That's it. That's all you're going to say? What else is there to say? I opened the closet and pulled out a duffel bag. You kissed someone else. I appreciate you telling me instead of hiding it. But aren't you going to ask who it was? Or why? I started packing. Shirts first, then jeans. Does it matter who it was? The why seems pretty clear. You wanted to kiss him, so you did. Her voice rose. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. I paused, looked at her directly. Then why did you do it? I don't know. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Sarah. People make choices. I continued packing. She stood in the doorway, her face shifting from confusion to horror as she realized I was actually leaving. What are you doing? Giving you space to figure out what you want. I don't want space. I want us. I zipped the bag. If you wanted us, you wouldn't have kissed someone else. I walked past her to the door. She followed, tears streaming now. Where are you going? Tom's place. I'll get the rest of my stuff this weekend. You're leaving? Just like that? I looked back at her from the doorway. You made a choice last Saturday. I'm making mine tonight. I don't do relationships where trust is broken. I left. Behind me, I heard her sink onto the couch, sobbing. This wasn't the script at all. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I drove to Tom's apartment. He took one look at my face and grabbed me a beer without asking questions. We sat in silence for a while. Woman trouble, he finally said. Something like that. Want to talk about it? Not yet. My phone started buzzing. Sarah calling. Then texting. I counted 14 calls and 23 texts before I finally turned off the sound and left it face down on Tom's coffee table. Tom raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. Thursday morning arrived cold and gray. I got up early, went for a run, then headed to work. I was in the parking lot, about to go inside, when Sarah's car pulled up next to mine. She got out holding 2 coffees. She looked terrible. Eyes red, face puffy. Clearly hadn't slept. Please, she said. Can we just talk? I'm so sorry. It was a huge mistake. I accepted the coffee. I appreciate the apology. That takes courage. Hope flickered in her eyes. So can we work through this? Work through what? You kissing someone else? Or work through the fact that you were willing to betray our relationship when I was out of town visiting family? It wasn't like that. I swear it meant nothing. If it meant nothing, why did you do it? I told you. I was drunk and confused. Confused about what? She hesitated. About us, I guess. So you were confused about us. That's good to know. No. I was confused then, but I'm not now. What changed between Saturday and Wednesday? She was trapped. I realized how much I'd lose. So you weren't sure until you thought you might lose me. That doesn't sound like someone who was certain about the relationship to begin with. That's not fair. What's not fair is me thinking we were solid while you were questioning us. I grabbed my work bag from the back seat. Look, Sarah, I need time to process this. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. I walked into my building, left her standing in the parking lot. Thursday passed. Then Friday. Sarah's friends started calling. Ashley first. Then Rachel. I blocked their numbers without listening to the voicemails. Friday evening, Sarah convinced me to meet her at a coffee shop on 17th Avenue. Neutral ground, she'd said. I agreed. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table. She'd clearly been coached again, probably by Ashley. Her approach was different now. I've been thinking a lot, she said as I sat down. Maybe this is actually good that it happened. I sipped my coffee. How so? Because it showed me that you're the one I want. I never would have known how strongly I felt about you if I hadn't made this mistake. That's an interesting perspective. So you needed to betray me to appreciate me. That's not what I meant. But that's what you said. You needed this to happen to know you wanted me. I already wanted you. I just didn't realize how much. And now that you've realized, what? We just go back to normal? She leaned forward. We can go to counseling. We can work on rebuilding trust. I leaned back in my chair. Here's the thing, Sarah. I don't want to be with someone who needs to cheat on me to realize they love me. That's not the foundation I want for a relationship. The tears started again. So that's it. 3 years together, and you're just done? I'm not the one who ended things. You did that Saturday night. One mistake shouldn't destroy everything we built. It's not about the mistake. It's about what the mistake reveals. It shows me that when you're confused or drunk or whatever, your instinct is to step outside our relationship. What happens the next time you're confused? There won't be a next time. You're probably right. Because there won't be an us for there to be a next time. I stood to leave. What if I told you it was a test? She blurted out. I paused, looked at her, waited, but she didn't continue. The words hung there between us, unfinished. She'd gotten so close to confessing, but she pulled back. A test, I repeated. Of what? Nothing. Forget I said that. I shook my head and walked out. Saturday afternoon, I was at the gym when my phone rang. Sarah again. Against my better judgment, I answered. Jake, I need to tell you something important. Can we meet in person? I'm at the gym. You can tell me now. It's something I think I should say in person. Why? So you can try to manipulate me face to face? Her voice got defensive. I'm not trying to manipulate you. Really? Because that comment yesterday about what if it was a test sounded pretty manipulative to me. Silence. Then, I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I just thought maybe I was subconsciously testing our relationship, and I cut her off. Sarah, here's what I think. I think you're trying to find a way to make cheating on me sound like something other than what it was. Whether it was a test or a mistake or a moment of confusion, it doesn't change what happened. You chose someone else over me. But what if the actual kiss didn't? Didn't what? Didn't happen? Because now you're sounding like you want to take back your confession. Which is it, Sarah? Did you cheat or didn't you? Long pause. I did. I kissed someone. Then we're back where we started. You broke our trust. End of story. Why won't you fight for us? Because I don't fight for relationships with people who test me or lie to me or cheat on me. I have too much self-respect for that. I hung up. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. Sarah's number, but Ashley's voice. Jake, this is Ashley. I think you're being incredibly immature about this whole situation. I almost laughed. Do you? Yes. She made one mistake, she apologized, and you're acting like she committed murder. Do you have any idea how much she's suffering right now? I do. And that's unfortunate. But it's the consequence of her choices. One kiss. It was one meaningless kiss. You're really going to throw away 3 years over that. You're right. It's just one kiss. So it should be easy for her to understand why I'm not willing to overlook it. That doesn't even make sense, doesn't it? If it's so small and meaningless, then why am I wrong for having a big reaction to it? You can't have it both ways, Ashley. Either it's a significant betrayal that explains my response, or it's meaningless and she shouldn't have done it in the first place. You're twisting my words. No, I'm applying your logic consistently. Something you might want to try. Ashley's voice hardened. Sarah needs someone who will fight for her, not someone who gives up at the first problem. This wasn't the first problem. This was the first betrayal. There's a difference. And if you think having boundaries is giving up, that says a lot about your relationships. My relationships are fine, thank you. Is that why you're so invested in Sarah's? Because yours are going so well? You're an asshole. And you're someone who convinces women to blow up their relationships for entertainment. We all have our flaws. I hung up on her too. Sunday afternoon, my phone rang again. Different number. I answered. Jake, it's Jess. Jess, the quiet one. The one who'd expressed doubts during that conference call. I know you probably don't want to hear from any of Sarah's friends, she said. But can I just say something? Go ahead. I think you should know that this whole thing started as Ashley's idea. I stayed silent. Let her talk. The kiss. It wasn't real. It was a test that Ashley convinced Sarah to do. To test your commitment or something. I told them it was a bad idea, but they wouldn't listen. I'm so sorry. I should have said something earlier. Let me make sure I understand, I said, keeping my voice neutral. You're telling me that Sarah lied about cheating on me as a test? Yes. I feel terrible about it. So Sarah didn't actually cheat. She just lied about cheating to manipulate me into proving my love. When you put it like that, it sounds really bad. That's because it is really bad, Jess. Actually, it might be worse. At least if she really cheated, it would be a moment of weakness. This was premeditated manipulation. I didn't think about it that way. Does Sarah know you're telling me this? No. And please don't tell her I called. I just thought you deserved to know the truth. I appreciate that. You're the first honest person in this situation besides me. Are you going to talk to her? Eventually. When I'm ready. Thanks for calling, Jess. I waited until Monday evening to call Sarah. Let her sit with her lie a little longer. Let her wonder if I'd ever speak to her again. When I finally called, she answered before the first ring finished. Jake? Oh my God, I'm so glad you called. I have to tell you something important. I'm listening. Okay, so the kiss. It didn't actually happen. I said nothing. It wasn't real, she continued, words tumbling out fast. I made it up. It was stupid, I know, but my friends convinced me that I should test how you felt about me, and I know it was wrong, and I'm so sorry. So you lied to me about cheating to test my love. Yes, and I know how terrible that sounds, but let me ask you something. When did you plan to tell me it was fake? What do you mean? Well, you told me Wednesday night. Today's Monday. That's 5 days. At what point were you planning to come clean about your manipulation? I was going to tell you sooner, but you left, and then you wouldn't talk to me, and Sarah, you had multiple chances to tell me the truth. You met me at work. You met me for coffee. You called me multiple times, but you kept up the lie. Because you wouldn't listen. You kept walking away. No, I was listening perfectly fine. You just didn't like what I was saying. Can we please just meet and talk about this? Now that you know the truth. The truth? Which truth, Sarah? The truth that you cheated, or the truth that you lied about cheating, or the truth that you only confessed to lying after 5 days of watching me leave the relationship? She was crying now. I'm sorry. I don't know how many times I can say it. Here's what I know. For 5 days, you let me believe you betrayed me. You watched me move out. You listened to me tell you we were done. And you kept up the charade. Because I didn't know how to fix it. You could have said it was a lie. I never kissed anyone. Those words. At any point. But you didn't. I'm saying them now. Too late. The damage is done. What does that mean? It means I need to think about whether I want to be with someone capable of this level of manipulation. But you love me. I know you love me. Love isn't enough when trust is gone. I'll be in touch. I hung up before she could respond. Tuesday morning, Tom called me. You need to come to Williams and Graham tonight, he said. Apparently Sarah and her friends are planning some kind of intervention. Thought you should know. How do you know? Mike texted me. He and Lauren got invited. Sounds like they're gathering the troops to convince you that you're being unreasonable. I smiled for the first time in days. Thanks for the heads up. You going? Wouldn't miss it. That evening, I agreed to meet Sarah at our apartment first. One final conversation, I told her. She thought this was her chance to fix everything. I walked in to find her sitting on the couch, looking exhausted. Eyes red from days of crying. Okay, she said as soon as I sat down. I need you to just listen. No walking out. No hanging up. Just listen to me. I'm listening. Ashley had this idea that I should test you because she said that's how you know if someone really loves you. And I know it sounds insane now, but at the time, it made sense. I've been so insecure about us because you never talk about the future, you never talk about marriage, and I just needed to know if you were as invested as I was. Go on. So I told you I kissed someone at the kitchen, and you just left. You didn't fight. You didn't yell. You didn't ask me to explain. You just packed a bag and left. And that's when I realized the test backfired because you didn't react the way Ashley said you would. The test backfired the moment you decided to do it. I know that now. I know it was wrong and stupid, and I'm not talking about the outcome, Sarah. I'm talking about the decision to test me in the first place. I said I'm sorry. What more do you want? I leaned forward. I want you to understand why I'm not okay with this. It's not about the fake kiss. It's about what you were willing to do to me. What do you mean? For 5 days, you let me believe you cheated on me. 5 days of me processing that betrayal, that pain, that loss. And you watched me go through it. I didn't know how to tell you. You knew exactly how to tell me. You chose not to because you were more concerned with how I'd react than with the pain you were causing me. I stood up, paced to the window. Here's what really bothers me. You didn't trust me enough to just ask me how I felt about our relationship. You didn't trust me enough to have an honest conversation about marriage or the future. Instead, you trusted your friend's advice to manipulate me. It wasn't manipulation. What do you call lying to someone to provoke a reaction? That's textbook manipulation. You created a false crisis to test my love, and when my response wasn't what you scripted, you kept doubling down on the lie. I panicked. You had 5 days to unpanic. You met me for coffee. You called me multiple times. You had your friend Ashley call me. But you know what you didn't do? Tell me the truth. I'm telling you now. Only after Jess told me first. Her face went pale. You knew? And you still let me. I let you make your own choices. Just like you let me think you cheated for 5 days. That's not the same thing, isn't it? You wanted to see how I'd react to a lie. I wanted to see how long you'd maintain one. Turns out, you were willing to maintain it until your friend forced your hand. I walked back to the couch and sat down, looking at her directly. I heard you, Sarah. Heard me what? Last Tuesday night. I came home early from the gym. I heard you on speakerphone with Ashley and Rachel. I heard Ashley coaching you on exactly what to say. I heard Rachel saying it would be romantic when you revealed it was fake. I heard every word. She stared at me, frozen. So I knew it was a test before you even did it. And I decided right then what my response would be. Not the response your friends predicted. Not the response you wanted. But the response you earned. She put her face in her hands and sobbed. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was the worst mistake of my life. The worst mistake was believing people who told you to treat your relationship like an experiment. I'll never listen to them again. I'll cut them off completely. I'll do whatever it takes. That's easy to say now. I mean it. Just tell me what to do to fix this. I don't know if you can. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I stood. Where are you going? We're supposed to meet people at Williams and Graham, remember? Your intervention? Her eyes went wide. How did you know about that? Tom told me. Apparently Ashley's been texting everyone about how I'm being unreasonable and need to be talked some sense into. I didn't know she was doing that. Doesn't matter. Let's go. I think your friends need to hear some things. Williams and Graham was busy when we arrived. Tom was already there, sitting at the bar with a beer. He nodded at me as we walked in. Ashley, Rachel, and a few mutual friends were gathered at a large table. Mike and Lauren Stevens were there too, looking uncomfortable. Ashley stood up when she saw me. Jake, can we talk to you for a minute? By all means. Let's have this conversation right here. Several people at nearby tables were already watching. Ashley looked uncertain, but pushed forward. We just think you're being really harsh. Sarah apologized. She admitted it was wrong. What more do you want? I want to understand something. Which one of you came up with the idea for the test? Rachel shifted uncomfortably. Ashley lifted her chin. I suggested it, yes. Because Sarah was insecure and needed to know where she stood. So you convinced her to fake infidelity, coached her on exactly what to say, told her it would be romantic when she revealed it was fake, and encouraged her to keep up the lie even after I moved out. The conversations at nearby tables stopped. More people were listening now. Rachel jumped in. We never said to keep up the lie. Really? Because I heard you, Rachel. I heard you say it would be like a movie when Sarah revealed it was fake, and I realized how much I fought for her. Ashley's face flushed. You were eavesdropping? I overheard you coaching my girlfriend on how to manipulate me. There's a difference. I turned slightly, addressing the growing audience. For those keeping score at home, my girlfriend faked cheating on me to test if I really loved her. When I responded by leaving, like any person with self-respect would, her friends convinced her to keep up the charade for 5 days. Mike spoke up. Wait, you told her to fake cheating? Lauren looked at Sarah. Sarah, is this true? Ashley tried to regain control. It was a test. Relationships need testing. Does yours? I asked, looking at Ashley. What? I spotted Dylan, Ashley's boyfriend, standing uncomfortably near the bar. Hey Dylan, did you know that Ashley thinks the best way to test a relationship is through lies and manipulation? You might want to keep that in mind. Dylan stared at Ashley with a new expression. Tom raised his beer. Man, if my girlfriend pulled that, I'd be done too. That's not a test. That's psychological warfare. Lauren nodded. I can't believe you thought this was okay, Sarah. Mike and I had actual problems last year, and we went to counseling. We didn't play games. Mike turned to Ashley. And you encourage this? What kind of friend does that? Rachel tried to defend. We were just trying to help Sarah feel more secure in her relationship. By making her lie and manipulate? I shook my head. That's your version of security? Ashley's face was red now. You're making this into way more than it was. It was one little test. I stood up, tall enough that everyone could see me clearly. Here's what I learned this week. When someone tests your love, they're really telling you they don't trust you. When someone lies to you to get a reaction, they're telling you they don't respect you. And when someone values their friend's advice over your relationship, they're telling you where their priorities are. I looked directly at Ashley. You convinced Sarah to almost destroy her relationship for your entertainment. That's not friendship. That's toxicity. And anyone who takes relationship advice from you deserves exactly what they get. Ashley glared at me. Screw you, Jake. Already been screwed. Thanks. By your brilliant advice. I walked out. Tom followed. Behind us, I could hear multiple conversations starting, people questioning Ashley's judgment, others expressing shock at the whole situation. Sarah sat at that table, mortified, watching her social circle turn on her friends. Tom and I went to a different bar. Had a beer in peace. That was something, Tom said. Had to be said. You think you and Sarah are done? I stared at my beer. I don't know yet. The next morning, Sarah texted me. Please, one more conversation. I understand if you never forgive me, but please let me say what I need to say. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop on South Broadway. Neutral territory. Last chance. She was already there when I arrived, looking like she hadn't slept in days. I know you probably never want to see me again after last night. I'm here, aren't I? I don't know why. I wouldn't be if I were you. I'm here because 3 years deserves one final honest conversation. She nodded. I cut them off. Ashley, Rachel. I sent them both messages this morning saying I can't be friends with them anymore. I blocked their numbers. That's a start. I know it doesn't fix what I did. I know it doesn't change the fact that I lied to you, manipulated you, and let you believe something horrible for almost a week. It doesn't. I need you to know that I understand now why you left. Not because you didn't love me. Because you respected yourself too much to stay with someone who disrespected you. I waited. Let her continue. I was insecure. I was afraid you didn't see a future with me. But instead of asking you about it like an adult, I let my friends convince me to play games. And I lost everything that mattered because of it. Why didn't you just ask me about the future? Because I was afraid of the answer. If you said you didn't see marriage with me, I'd have to face that truth. The test felt safer because it wasn't about marriage. It was just about whether you'd fight for me. I drank my coffee, considered my words carefully. Here's the thing, Sarah. I don't know if we can come back from this. She nodded, tears streaming. I know. But I'm willing to see if we can. On conditions. Her head snapped up. Anything. First, you cut off Ashley and Rachel completely. Not just block numbers. If you see them in public, you walk away. They've already shown they'll try to worm their way back in. Done. Second, we go to actual counseling. Not because I need to forgive you. Because you need to understand why you thought manipulation was acceptable. And I need to understand why I didn't communicate about the future clearly enough that you felt secure. I'd like that. Third, complete honesty. About everything. Your feelings, your insecurities, your fears. No more tests. No more games. If you're unsure about something, you ask me directly. I promise. And fourth, you need to prove to me over time that this was a one-time lapse in judgment, not a pattern of behavior. That means I'm watching how you handle conflict, stress, and disagreement going forward. How long? As long as it takes for me to trust you again. Could be months. Could be a year. I don't know. She wiped her eyes. And Sarah, you need to know that even if we do all this, we might not make it. The trust is broken. It might not heal. I understand. I hope it does heal. I hope we can get back what we had, but I can't promise that. Just the fact that you're willing to try is more than I deserve. We sat there in that coffee shop for another hour. Talked about logistics. Talked about boundaries. Talked about what came next. It wasn't fixed. Not even close. But it was a start. Over the next 8 weeks, we rebuilt slowly. I stayed at Tom's for the first 2 weeks. Came to the apartment to pack more things, to have dinner occasionally. We met for coffee once a week. Sarah found a therapist and started individual sessions. By week 3, we had our first couples counseling appointment. It was awkward, painful, but productive. Week 4, I moved back into the apartment. Guest room at first. Small steps. Sarah's phone buzzed one evening. Ashley trying to reach out from a different number. Sarah showed me immediately. Blocked it without hesitation. That mattered. By week 6, we were staying in the same room again. Starting to feel like a couple instead of two strangers navigating a minefield. We had our first real argument in week 7. About dishes, something completely mundane. Sarah handled it by directly stating her frustration. No games. No manipulation. Just honesty. I noticed. Acknowledged she was changing. Week 8. Sarah's work friend invited her to happy hour. The group included Rachel. Sarah declined. Suggested a different location, just the two of them instead. I saw her make that choice. Saw her follow through on her boundaries. 2 months after the initial disaster, I came home from work to find Sarah quiet. Clearly upset about something. What's wrong? I need to talk to you about something, and I'm afraid of how you'll react. I felt my defenses go up immediately. Those words. That phrase. She saw my face change. It's not a test, she said quickly. I promise. I'm just anxious because this is the first time I've had to bring up something serious since everything. Okay, what is it? She took a breath. I got offered a promotion at work. It's amazing, but it would mean traveling about 1 week per month. And I'm scared that you'll think I'm trying to get away from you, or that you won't trust me being gone overnight. And I just don't know how to bring up good things that might also be complicated. Relief washed through me. That's amazing. Congratulations. You're not worried about the travel? Am I thrilled about you being gone a week every month? No, but that's normal relationship adjustment, not trust issues. We'll figure it out. Really, really. And thank you for just telling me directly instead of trying to gauge my reaction first. She hugged me tight. I'm learning. It's hard, but I'm learning. I held her close. You know what I realized through all this? What? Tests don't build trust. Time does. Honesty does. Showing up every day and choosing each other does. That's what makes a relationship solid. I'm sorry I learned that lesson the hard way. The important thing is that you learned it at all. We stood there in our kitchen, just holding each other. Not performing for anyone. Not proving anything. Just being real. Real love doesn't need to be tested, I said quietly. It just needs to be respected. 8 months later, I proposed. Not at a fancy restaurant. Not in some public spectacle. Just at home while we were cooking dinner together. Because our relationship wasn't a performance anymore. It was just real. Sarah said yes. And this time, there were no tests. Just truth. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.